Hey, you're listening to Don't Lie to Your Life Coach podcast with Kim Arrington. I'm Kim Arrington. I'm a life coach, a weight loss coach, an author, and a badass passionate about helping you connect back to your most authentic self. Join me here each week so I can coach you on how to think all those juicy thoughts that get you feeling your absolute best and taking some big ass action. Coaching has changed my life, and it can change your life too. I'm here to give you real life solutions to create a life you'll love. Because the truth is, boo, you ain't just got problems, you got options. Hey, y'all. Why did okay, Fat Albert, don't come for me. Why did I realize that? Hey. Y'all know that's Fat Albert. Did y'all watch Fat Albert growing up? I actually kind of co-opted that. Mine is more like, hey. But I realized the other day, I was like, where do I know that from? Anyway, hey, y'all, hey. You know, I'm in North Carolina. I'm going to try to cover up this cup so you can't see the business on the cup. But I'm drinking peppermint tea. There's a whole story I want to tell you about the peppermint tea. But first, we are in fourth winter in North Carolina. I don't know when you're going to get this podcast, but we're in fourth winter. And it's funny. I have about 20 chigger bites on me. I sometimes work on my neighbor's porch and they have like a wicker style furniture. And I put my hand down. I'm pretty sure that's where I got my chigger bites. No, they ain't bed bugs. No, they ain't. I know what a chigger bite is, but I literally haven't had one in about, I'll be 46. I would say I probably haven't had any since I was 10. So that's, 36 years. And they weren't super itchy. The one that was really itchy was on my back. They bit me up one side of my arm. That's where I figured out where I got the chiggers from, because I put my arm on the armrest. So like I had about 14 bites on my arm, and then like 4 bites on my math's gonna be wrong, y'all. 2 bites on my neck, a couple of bites on my back, 1 on my leg. So I could tell like where I put my arm on the armrest. I didn't even feel it, which is actually really funny. But chiggers can be very itchy. These are healing. They take a long time to heal though. Let me see if you can see. Can you see those? Those are chiggers. They do not burrow in your skin like we were told when we were kids. They just bite you and they're usually really itchy, but only my back one was super itchy. But now that I'm saying that, I feel itchy. All right. So today I'm really excited about this podcast, and maybe this podcast, the way you talk to yourself, can either be a chigger bite or a soothing cup of peppermint tea. Speaking of that, let me read this. And it's funny about this peppermint tea because I am getting over I don't like to call it a sickness. I really think what we call sinus infections are basically the change in season. Our sinuses are very vulnerable. And I think what happens is when the seasons change, and pollen came out record time in North Carolina in February. When the seasons change, I want to sing seasons change. No, okay. Bangles, not that. All right. When the seasons change, I love how my brain thinks. Look at how I'm talking to myself. I think our sinuses react with the dryness in our homes. You know how our homes get very dry, and then it'll be here, especially it gets hot, then it gets cold. Like it was 27 degrees today in March. Yesterday was the first day of spring. Okay. 27 degrees. It's going to go up to 64 today. That's a huge temperature spread. I think our sinuses react with producing lots and lots of mucus to try to lubricate and to get rid of the pollen and do all that. I think we call that a sinus infection. And then what my doctor gave me, this valuable key to my health, probably about 6 years ago, where he said, if a sinus infection goes long enough, it collects in your chest, and then you get, bronchitis. And that changed my life because I would have bronchitis sometimes for 3 months, literally. And then it would be a new cycle. It always happened around a Christmas tree. If y'all have live Christmas trees, I can't with the mold. Good luck with it if you can. I cannot. So I got rid of the Christmas trees. That reduced, I haven't had bronchitis since that situation, since about 5 years, 6 years. And then I have a whole spate of home remedies I do. But the point is, I got to stop it before it becomes a full-blown sinus infection, because I know it's going to turn into bronchitis if it goes too long. And so I don't do humidifiers. I cannot trust myself to keep it clean. I will put a pot of water on the stove. If y'all do that, that's on y'all. You better watch it so your house don't go up in flames, okay? I'm really good about knowing the pot is on. I worked out from home today. I had the pot on while I was working out, so I could just kind of bathe my sinuses in moisture. Your shower does that. Sometimes I'll hang up clothes in my room, like even hanging a towel in your room. You just got to be careful because you don't want to encourage mold, right? Because there's overconsumption of anything can be too much, okay? And so what I've loved about this realization is that if I can get it when my sinuses start to get reactive, and now this next coming season, I want to try to catch it prior to that. So like really when I know like that first cold, warm snap is coming, go ahead and bathe my sinuses so I don't have to go through all that. So this really fits in our conversation today, right? Because the way we talk to ourselves, like that piece of information I got from my doctor really changed my life. And then I got more information. I think that is the equivalent of like how powerful it is, the way that we talk to ourselves, the things that we may repeat to ourselves hundreds of times a day, the things we say about other people, the little, prisons we create about how things aren't going to change. I think the way, and in my coaching, this has been one of the most transformative skills that I've taught my clients is the way to talk to yourself. And I'm going to be honest, y'all, like Goldie Hawn years ago did this whole thing around happiness. You can probably find it on the internet. I am predisposed for happiness. I am predisposed. Look at how I'm talking to myself. I am predisposed for being grounded. I've almost always been able to be a silver lining person. Now, I think that it's a skill that can be taught. Yes, I might be predisposed for that. Like I'm predisposed to be able to sing. I'm predisposed. Some people are predisposed for a jump shot. They're tall and, maybe they got it in their genes. I don't know. But the bottom line is the things I'm not predisposed to, I teach myself. And I want you, hell, even if you ain't predisposed, why not grab that juicy thought of I'm predisposed to happiness. I'm predisposed to speaking well to myself. Because last week I had a client and honey, she was arguing so hard for her not to be able to find the job that she wants. It doesn't work this way. It doesn't. And I just said to her, you are arguing so hard for this. You're gaslighting yourself. You want this thing and you're so fearful of it. You're arguing why it can't happen. I was like, this is how I'm different. I'm going to argue how it can happen no matter what, how it's going to happen. Right. And so that's what I want to talk to you about today is how you can get yourself on board with believing that things can happen in your life by how you talk to yourself. And this is the thing. This is not toxic positivity. I didn't tell you not to feel your emotions. Like if something breaks your heart, I want you to feel that it breaks your heart. But I'm going to tell you what I do because I believe sitting in a place of powerlessness can be very self-indulgent, right? It feels like you're doing a thing. And for me, I literally will give myself, I'll be like, okay, you can be sad about this for a day. You can check back in with yourself to see if you're sad, but I want you to start turning the corner because y'all don't remember all the things you were sad about. If I asked you, what were you sad about April 1st, 2019? Most of you all can't tell me unless it was a huge event, like someone really meaningful to you passed away or something like that, okay? And kind of back to that whole sinus thing. Not only did I have to get moisture, I had to think about moisture in several different ways. I know some of y'all hate that word. I had to ply myself with liquids, tea, water, juice. I was dehydrated. That's the other way that sinus infections and any infection can really get in. It was a perfect dry area for me to accept whatever. So I had to think about it from putting the pot of water on, blowing the hell out of my nose. I'm surprised it's still on my damn face. And drinking. And I have been working on this weight loss program for you all. If you're interested, www.kimarrington, y'all know KIMARRINGTON/weight loss. If you go into the show notes in any of the podcasts or on YouTube, I have the link there. You just click the link and you can find out, you can get on the waiting list. I'm working my ass off to get y'all this weight loss course. And I have been staring at the screen and not drinking enough. And I had to remind myself, no, you can take care of yourself, even though you're trying to take care of getting them a thing. And so I had to look at it from a multiple prong, perspective. And that to me is also what speaking to yourself. Y'all hear me say speaking life, speaking to yourself in a kind way can do to you. Remember, overconsumption is always showing us something we could be doing different. Y'all know I talk about overeating. If you're overeating, there are places that overeating is trying to tell you where truth can be found in your life that you are not paying attention to. Okay. And so I always say this, the solution is in the problem. What I just said is, if I'm honest about why I'm overeating, why I think I'm overeating, and I solve for those things, then my relationship with food can change. And I can also work diligently to change that relationship. I mean, y'all, it's kind of funny. I did not know weight loss was going to take me on this journey of self, but it did. There's a lot of ways to go on journeys of self, right? Over consuming money, alcohol, shopping, sex. Well, I don't know. Like, I don't want to speak on the sex one because that some of us need to having more sex, but I'm talking about anything that you do too much of, indiscriminate, constant, all those things can lead to you not recognizing truths that you could go there with that truth and you could have some relief. Okay. Our actions are always reactions to something. If you want to change your life, if you want to feel better, you have to find the something and do something about it. Something and do something about it. Find that thing, those 3 big issues, those hot button issues, and work on that. Okay. Because my big thing right now is I'm looking at money. I have solved for overeating. I know how to not overeat. I know if I'm overeating, I need to look at a thing. Right now, I am solving for money and I am enjoying it, y'all. I'm enjoying being so honest about money and learning from people. You know how I say y'all learn from me about like overeating and having the best life you can, right? Stopping overeating. There are people I'm learning about money and having the best financial life I can, and I'm loving it. Look at how I'm speaking life, right? The end of struggle is the way you talk to yourself, okay? The end of struggle is the way you talk to yourself. So I think it's not hyperbole for me to say the number one way to improve your life, the most important thing I teach people is to talk back to how they're feeling. You all believe your feelings are real. Now, saying your feelings are valid is different than saying your feelings are real. If you feel something, it is giving you information that is valid. But we decide things all the time that feel real, but if you said it to someone else or you really looked at it logically, it is not real. Okay. So I'm not going to get deep into that, but I'm going to tell you, no one gets to this better than Louise Hay. Louise Hay is the affirmation queen. And you all will be like, well, what are affirmations? Well, the reason why I like affirmations is that your subconscious is like the recorder. It's constantly recording. Sometimes it's a black box recorder. You know, the black box recorder when the plane goes down and it's a recording of what happened. Sometimes it's recording everything, but it's really focused on that safety and that like preventing tragedy, right? That's why I made that reference to the black box, because they listen to that to understand, to piece together what happened in the accident. But your subconscious also is so highly suggestive. You know what I'm saying? Sounds like digestibles. Have you ever traveled to the UK? There are these delicious cookies called digestibles. And I was like, these are so good. I did not know they were shit cookies. You literally eat them to help you shit. I need no help shitting, but it was hilarious. Like, I was like, what digestibles? Anyway, your your subconscious is highly suggestive, not that kind of suggestive, Kim. You can literally change what shows up in your life, the choices you make in your life, by plying your subconscious with a repeated thought. Now, I love this. You all, I'm going to link to him. Dr. Russell Kennedy talks all about anxiety and how to live with anxiety and how to change how it affects your life. And he's my latest like self-help, self-development crush. I do believe, like he says, that talking is a huge piece of it, but locating where that feeling is in your body, you know, it's part of the reason why I exercise. It's part of the reason why I was like, let me hop on and do a podcast right now, because I just did arm day, is when I am moving, I'm also moving out. I'm also like, my thoughts are happening, but I'm also having a physical response to those thoughts. When I meditate, it's a physical action that I'm doing along with my thinking. And I think that's really powerful. I'm not going to talk about that today, but I am going to link to Dr. Kennedy. So Dr. Russ is what I call him. So you can learn more about him. He's also fantastic to follow on Instagram. I'll also put his Instagram handle on there as well. Okay. But he talks a lot about that. I ain't talking about that. I'm talking about actually how you talk to yourself today. Okay. So, and I'll also link to Louise Hay. Now remember, Louise Hay had a lot of prominence in the 80s and the 90s. So you'll feel that sometimes when you're reading her things, but I'm telling you, You Can Heal Your Life changed my life. It's one of the top 5 books that have changed my life. Okay. So let's talk about it. The way you talk to yourself, and let me give you some examples, because it does fly off my tongue, right? I'm so beautiful. I'm one of the kindest people I know. Those I am, you're really gonna talk about I am. I love how my mind thinks. I love how I can figure things out. I'm using these, I do believe all this about me, but I'm using this as in reference, how you talk to yourself. I feel so good about my future. I know that I have my own back. I know that there's so many people who love me. I know that I'm worthy. I feel so good about figuring things out in midlife. I know that I can stop overeating. And then there's like a little bit more of a neutral place where you're like, I'm open to seeing what happens with my overeating. I'm open to believing love could work. I'm open to thinking that this job is a good fit, even though today was a tough day. So y'all, you can if you can't come up with these, like you can take a problem. I am so angry with my mother-in-law, and you can turn into, I'm open to seeing things with my mother-in-law differently. I'm open to understand that sometimes we get angry with people we care about. I'm open to realizing that I have more important relationships in my life than the one with my mother-in-law. And I'm not letting my other relationships take precedence. And like, you can also make your affirmation be real about people. Like, even though this relationship with my mother-in-law feels difficult at times, I have my own back. Sarah has my back. Jamal has my back. Like, you can affirm even in difficult situations. So remember, if you're having something that's really coming up to you for you, you can change that around. And when I say affirm, you're going to repeat that. I sometimes take a timer and set it for 10 minutes, 5 minutes, 3 minutes, 1 minute, and I will repeat that over and over. I will repeat something over and over. I trust myself. 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 I'll notice the pictures that come up in my mind. Sometimes there's solutions that present themselves. It doesn't have to, but the point is I'm saying it over and over and over. I am bathing my subconscious that is so willing to look how to keep me safe. And remember, keeping you safe isn't allowing you to blossom all the time in the ways you need to blossom in your life. Your subconscious wants to keep you safe. And if I bathe it in reassurance, that's the word I'm looking for. Speak in life, the way you speak to yourself is the reassurance you often want from other people that you can so easily give to yourself. That's the truth. That's the truth. So you need to think about affirmations or speaking life or the way you talk to yourself as like, remember when you were a kid? I don't know if you all play this game. We used to play this game where it'd be like force filled up. You know, in the cartoons where they would put up a force field around themselves, or I like to say a Teflon Donna strategy, right? Like with Teflon, you know, things don't stick, right? That means that if you have a regular practice of turning your thoughts into powerful affirmative statements for you, that when things go wrong, when the shit hits the fan can hit the shit. Your affirmations can be that fan blowing that shit off. I like to say all the time, do not let other people hang their shit on you. How do I do that? I talk to myself about it. I'll say, I'm trying to think of a name right now. John likes to come at me at times at work. And you know what? I know that what John thinks about me doesn't matter more than how I think about myself. And I'm going to have a conversation with John and try to understand him, but tell him what my boundaries are. Go listen to Boundaries with Your Damn Self, okay? And another great episode to listen to would be, oh, it just went out my mind. Everybody Talks About Everybody. That's both those episodes are very affirmative episodes, okay? And I need to stop letting what John says bother me. This is taking me back to when my dad used to say this, and my dad is not John. John is my coworker. Maybe John is showing me a place that I'm ready to heal. Maybe I need to stop making John's words matter than my own. You know what? I'm so capable. I'm so able to figure this out. I'm going to ignore the fuck out of John. That's talking back to yourself. That's the force build up, Teflon Donna strategy on. Okay. All right. So that is, it's self-protective. Like, you can feel and figure out anything. How affirmative is that? How affirmative is that? So I believe the way you talk to yourself, that's the atoms of self-love. That's the path to self-trust. And like anything, y'all, like when I was learning to run, I had to build up endurance. I had to try it several different ways. I had to realize these days I need to wear these clothes. This day I need these shoes. Like, y'all should have seen me when I had to change shoes from Nikes to Brooks. Like, I was freaking the hell out because all I had known was the Nike experience, and Brooks work well for me, right? Brooks, I was ready to do something different, right? So the atoms of self-love is like not the validation of others. The validation of others should be like, you're making a salad. Listen to this reference. I like bacon bits on my salad, but every salad I have don't got bacon bits on it. Validation, outward validation, outside validation, that's your bacon bits, that's your eggs. I love eggs on the salad, but I don't gotta eat a salad with eggs. That's what your outside validation should be. I am validating the fuck out of myself so much that when other people are saying it, it's extra, it feels good, it's great, it's wonderful. But I can do that wonderful, great feeling thing for the self of me. Okay? And it's got to be practiced. It's a muscle. It's got to have practice, and you will feel it. Most of us will do an action that supports us for a long time, and then we listen to our subconscious when it's like, well, you don't really need to do that anymore. And then we go back to the way we were before, and we feel the absence, and we're like, oh, my life is so terrible. My life is so this. No, go back to what's working. That's why I say to you all, do not say, I don't like my life. The shape of my life. I want the shape of my life to change. Okay? That's different. The way you talk to yourself, positively, lovingly, in a supportive way, it's so highly effective the longer you do it. And it becomes easier, and then it becomes a habit. But you know what the cycle of change, right? Y'all, please don't make me try to find the cycle of change on my computer. The cycle of change, that last step, when you relapse, when you go back to that old behavior, you start it back over and you go back to you know what? This ain't what I want. There's something different. That relapse, every time you relapse into going back to the old behavior, you learn something from that relapse, and you can go deeper into your habit. Or you can just self-love your way and say, I really don't need to relapse because this works. And I'm going to put it on my phone that when I feel shitty, here's my shitty list. How are you talking to yourself? How are you talking to yourself? Listen to the thoughts that are going between your ears and see if you like them. Okay, here's what I do. Here's what I'm doing right now. I'm on a 30-day blitz of the way I talk to myself. I literally type out probably 15 to 20 affirmative statements every day. For 10 minutes, I affirm something, one of those statements. I do a little journaling where I'm seeing what's good. And if something's not good, I'm like, this doesn't feel good. What do I need to do to turn this around? Can I turn it around? Do I need to step back from it and it's somebody else's stuff? Y'all, it's somebody else's stuff so often. Okay. You're not going to believe this, but a little goes a long way. If you start even a 2-minute practice of affirming yourself, you're going to feel better. Like this week, I have felt better. Like I'm on day 4. Today's day 4. I affirm myself all the time, but I got really serious about that. And I'm marrying it with the money, like with money and with me getting things done. And I feel good. I feel good. Because y'all got to question your cobwebs. I don't know. Maybe like you're a sciencey kid and you love cobwebs. I'm not talking about Charlotte's Web cobwebs. I'm talking about questioning the dark, scary places that you don't go to. Why do you still need them? What can you solve for? What can you solve for? What can you do differently? What is actions only you need to do, not what someone else needs to do? Because that's whenever I hear a sentence and they need to, and I'm like, sis, bro, what do you want to do? Person, what do you want to do? Take your power out of the hands of other people and give it back to yourself. Question your cobwebs. Question your cobwebs. That means, do I need to hold on to this version of this story? Do I need to hold on to these thoughts? I'm mad about my job. Okay. 5 different solutions in 5 seconds. Okay, not really 5 seconds. Find a new job. Apply for a new position. Move where you are in the company. Is there something you've always really wanted to do? Is there an additional out of job thing you could do? A hobby you want to pick back up? Do you want to be having more fun? Like, that's the kind of stuff, if you come to me as a one-on-one client, we work through. And what I'm hoping to offer sooner than later is a group coaching ability, psychic ability, no, a group coaching ability so I can work with multiple people to improve your life. Okay. You got taught that inner critic right out of yourself. I got that. You got to wash that. What is it? Wash that man right out of my hair. I'm really 80s today. So you have to taught the inner critic right out of you. And let me tell you what's so interesting about inner critics. The inner critic might sound like your voice, but it ain't your voice. The inner critic is that schoolyard bully who is hurting themselves and like the power of making you feel powerless so they could feel powerful because they felt powerless. It's the guy or girl or person who didn't love you when all you wanted was them to love you, but I mean, they won't go into. And what was more important was them loving you instead of them being the quote unquote right person to love you. It is the voice of your mama sometimes, or your daddy, the parent you struggle with the most, the teacher. I mean, I have worked with so many clients, and some of the inner critics I've heard are their teacher, their parent, and it'll be like a statement sometimes. I mean, sometimes it is dramatic and terrible, but sometimes it's just a statement that was said that their subconscious created into a thing. I can't let my inner critic take over my show. I'm going to question them cobwebs. I'm going to Teflon Donna. The way I do that is the way I talk to myself. When my inner critic comes, and my inner critic actually, y'all, is a roach. I hate roaches. My inner critic is a roach. And when I was doing the artist way, you had to like create a pictorial version of your inner critic. And I did a roach with like one of those big circles and the line going through it, and that was my inner critic, right? When my inner critic comes up, it's giving me like whatever it's talking shit to me about, it's giving me ways that I can liberate myself. If it's saying, oh my God, you're doing a weight loss program and your weight is up this much, then I get to come back and be like, y'all, who cares if my weight is up 10 pounds if I've lost 65 pounds? I'm going to complain about losing 55 pounds over 10 that I'm going to get off because that's what I know what to do. When that 10 pounds is telling me I'm scared going in this direction, that 10 pounds is giving me so much information. That inner critic that says, oh, you made this mistake. You're never supposed to make mistakes. Do you know how much you walk around in the world and you don't make mistakes? Do you ever say, oh, I didn't make mistakes doing this, 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 and this? That is what the talking to yourself is about. I'm so passionate about this because this is the shit that changes your life. It flips the script, flip mode. Okay. The beautiful thing about the way you talk to yourself is it can lead you to take inspired action. Inspired action is like the thing that comes to you, the person who calls you. This is like when y'all, the universe, God as you know it, nature.com, whatever you call it, there are forces outside of yourself that step in and kind of help you along the way, your guardian angel, even if you don't believe in it, a good ass idea, and it changes your life. It's like I asked the question to myself, why I didn't get bronchitis when I was in my 20s. Why do I keep getting sick? The inspired action was my doctor saying to you, yeah, this is not rocket science. You get bronchitis because you let a sinus infection go too long. And by the way, sinus infections can clear on their own. And so the inspired action I took was, let me stop a sinus infection in its tracks. And now the most recent inspired action I'm taking is, oh, let me be preemptive. Let me moisture myself to life. That's inspired action. When something comes together, it coalesces, it comes together and tells me, this is your next step. And let me tell y'all, here's the beautiful thing. The way I talk to myself opens me up to that internal wisdom, my higher self, that part of me that just knows, your intuition. I don't care what you call it, your manifestation, the God state, whatever you want to call it. But that inspired action is a thing that makes you go to the place, that makes you talk to the person, that makes you do the thing. And it can be on a much smaller scale. This podcast could be your inspired action to take your life back, because you get to decide to talk to yourself in a loving, positive, I am worthy way. Okay. If this is hard, get some help. Read a book, positive thinking, or get up, listen to more podcasts, or go on YouTube, or hire a coach, or go to a therapist. Like, I cannot express this enough. Y'all, if you commit to turning your thoughts around for a week, 30 days, 90 days, the rest of your life, this will change the way you view the world, how you perceive the world, how you perceive that you're making other people's opinions matter more. This is the life-changing stuff, okay? Yay, yay, yay. All right, this is good shit, good shit. Join me next week, same time, same place. Y'all, I'm rooting for you. This is the one. This is the episode. This is it. Talking to yourself with more love brings more love to you via yourself and other people. Your world literally can change. If there is such thing as alchemy, this is it. If I can turn regular things to gold, the way you talk to yourself is it. Okay? All right, y'all, have a good one. See you next week.
Are you feeling what you just heard? Good, good. Repeat after me. You don't have to figure it out on your own again anymore. I'm here to help. Head over to kimarrington.com and download my free video series dedicated to getting you feeling your best right now. Look around, there's some good stuff waiting on you. Got questions? Well, we're always talking on the socials, so find me on YouTube, Insta, and the book. Don't be shy, y'all. Go listen to another episode or join me here the same time next week. Finally, don't keep good shit to yourself. Share this with a homie that could use some help too. Remember, we're not lying to ourselves anymore. We're not lying to our doctors, and you damn sure don't lie to your life coach.